and welcome back to The Single Cook. My name is Tiffany, and this is my cooking channel where I make recipes for one or two people. Some of them are round two recipes where we make something large and then we use those ingredients in different ways to create new recipes so that we don't have the same leftovers for an entire week in our fridge. Today I am making something that's kind of big. It takes a little bit more effort to do. I'm making jambalaya, and I'm using some of the leftover chicken from my roast chicken video that I made earlier this week. I still had some chicken left over, and not a lot, but some. So I'm going to make jambalaya with it, and I'm going to move into adding new ingredients like sausage and shrimp and a couple of other things that we may use in future recipes later on. So let's go ahead and get cooking. I'm going to reposition the camera so that you can see what's going on in my pot. So today in our pot, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be using the Dutch oven. And this may be too large for the amount of servings that I need, but it is going to give me the most amount of space that I have for when I add stock to it. So I'm going to use that. So let me move it off to the side real quick so I can get my fire going. And to keep things from sticking, we are going to be using some of that bacon fat that I've used before. Just a little bit, just enough to get my vegetables going. So a couple tablespoons. Love using bacon fat. It adds salt without me having to add salt, while also giving me extra flavor. So we're going to let that go a little clear while I get my vegetables. Now, my vegetables have already been pre-cut because I knew I was going to be making this recipe. So in this container, I have about a third of that very large onion that I had previously diced, plus about a stalk of celery, and then about a third to a half of a green bell pepper. One of the things I like to do with bell peppers is that as soon as I bring them home from the grocery store, I dice them up or slice them up at least into slices, and then I put them in freezer bags and put them in the freezer so they are already prepped anytime I need to use them. It saves me a bunch of time, and while I do all of the prep right away, it means that I'm spending maybe 30 minutes prepping instead of a continuous 5 to 10 minutes, 20 minutes every time I try to make something. So now that this is melted, I'm going to go ahead and add that to it. So we are going to be doing that. Also to this pot, I'm going to be adding my sausage. And I'm going to go ahead and get that going because it will need to cook up as well. It is fully cooked, but I like it a little bit crispy. And I have taken one of these Polish sausages that normally look like this. And this is just a Polish kielbasa sausage. And I've cut it in half. And half of it I've done slices. And the other half I've diced up. Put that back in there. And we'll set that aside. I love using these kind of kielbasa sausages because they are fully cooked. And just one of these sausages is plenty of meat for the meal that I'm doing. So I have slices and then I have dices because I like different size. Give that a good stir. And try and separate out those slices so they don't all stick together. I'm also going to be adding some garlic. And I like a metric ton of garlic, so we're going to add a big heaping spoon of that. Put that away. Give it a good stir. And we're going to let this cook until those onions have gone translucent and our sausage has gone a little bit crispy over around the edges. Now, normally I would also add my chicken to this so that the chicken can cook through, but we've already cooked the chicken, so I don't have to worry about that. Okay, so our pot has been going for a few minutes now. And we're starting to get this lovely fond at the bottom. This is all going to be flavor. This is all the juices and stuff from the sausage and a little bit of fat. And all of that is just developing into a nice fond. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start adding some of the rest of our ingredients. I'm going to start with a can of diced tomatoes with green chilies. It might be Rotel brand, it might not be. That's okay. I'm going to add a can of dark red kidney beans. And I love an Aldi's, so both of these are from there. We're going to give that a little stir. And the kidney beans have been drained, but the Rotel was not. So that little bit of juice left in the Rotel has allowed us to get that fond up off the bottom of the pot. And we're going to let that warm through for a minute while we get our stock going. Now, my stock, I'm going to use that concentrated stock that I made that was in the mason jar. We're going to put a little bit, every time it seals, a little bit in our measuring cup. And I'm going to need about 2 cups of stock. So I'm going to put probably about half a teaspoon in the bottom of my thing. Not a lot at all. And then to that, I'm going to add water. And like I said, we're going to do about 2 cups. So we have that turned automatically into a lovely stock. I barely even have to stir because the pressure from the water just automatically mixed. So we have our stock that is getting to know itself. We'll give this a stir and we'll start adding some of our seasoning as well. So to our pot, we're going to add some garlic powder because even though I added some garlic, I still like a lot of garlic, so we're going to add some garlic powder, season that with love. We're going to do about a tablespoon of chili powder, and I'm going to just measure that in my palm of my hand, so about that. We're going to do about 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. So we're going to do, that might be too much, about that. I don't mind a little heat. And then I'm going to add some onion powder as well. And just shake that over top. Can't go wrong with more onion flavoring. I'm going to add some Tony's Creole seasoning. Tony's makes everything Cajun Creole inspired better. And I think I'm going to just give it a couple of shakes. I'm going to add a single bay leaf. And then we're going to add, I did find my hot sauce. I have just enough left for this recipe. And this was made by a friend. I'm going to use the rest of it. Love that. I'm going to have to get him to make me some more. I also need some Worcestershire sauce. I need about 2 teaspoons. So we're going to use the cap. 1 and 2 with a little extra. Get back on that. And I don't really need to add salt because I had that sausage and I had that bacon fat, so I'm just going to add a little bit of pepper. And I'm going to give that all a good stir. Let that get to know each other. It smells amazing. We've got that all going. And at this point, I'm going to add my shrimp. Now, my shrimp are not cooked. So all of my shrimp have been peeled and deveined, and then they've been cut into thirds. So we're going to add that. And that'll just cook inside the dish while everything else is cooking. And then lastly I'm going to add is the rest of my chicken. This is all of the little scraps from the back carcass, from the wings, and from one leg. Put that in there. Give that a good stir. Get to know each other. Get those shrimp starting to cook, that chicken starting to warm through. seasonings are all getting together. Now, I like jambalaya, so this is going to be more than one serving, but I can always freeze it as well, and this is still quite a bit less than I normally make. Normally I make enough for like 8 people. Two of the last things that we're going to add about a cup of uncooked rice, and then our stock. We're going to give that all a good stir. Make sure that the rice is all covered in water. Okay. And we're going to let that go. Now, once it comes back up to boiling after adding that stock, then I am going to lower the temperature down to medium. Right now it's on full high. Once I've lowered it down to medium, then I will let it go for a while, a couple of minutes before I turn it on to low for about 10.5 minutes. So that the rice can cook properly. So we're going to let that come up to a boil. Should be fairly quick. Okay, now that this has come up to a full boil, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower my temperature down to medium to low. I'm going to place a lid on it, and I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. Hey Google, set a timer for 10 minutes.
Sure, 10 minutes. And we're starting now.
And occasionally I'm going to come in and stir this and make sure that it is ready to go. So our jambalaya is going to sit there and just get lovely and full, and all of those flavors are going to mingle together, and I will see you in about 10 minutes. Okay, so our timer has gone off, and it actually went off a couple of times. The first 10 minutes I took a look at the inside of the pot, and my rice wasn't quite ready. So I ended up adding another cup of water, and I let it go for another 6 minutes. So taking the pot off, we still have a little bit of liquid on top, and that is okay. The longer it sits, the more that rice will absorb it. We're going to give it a good stir, and all of that shrimp is nicely cooked. My beans are nicely cooked. All of the meats are cooked and warmed through. So we have a nice big pot. And again, as this sits, it will thicken up as well. But I'm happy with the consistency it's at. So I'm going to go ahead and dish up. And I've turned my heat off already. So I'm going to make myself a good sized bowl. And this is a lot more than just for one person. It's probably good for about 3 to 4. But again, I like leftovers, and I can freeze this as well. So I can make myself a big bowl for today, and I can freeze 2 more portions and have that another day for lunch or for dinner whenever I can't be bothered to cook. I'm also going to take some of the green onions from the other day. I still have about a tablespoon left, and I'm going to top mine with some of that green onions, and I am all set. That is my dinner for today. That is my jambalaya. We've used some of that leftover chicken, onions, bell peppers, celery, garlic, sausage, shrimp, some spices, some seasonings, some of that stock concentrate that one day I will make a video of. And it is delicious. I know you haven't tasted it, you can't see it, you can't smell it, but it smells amazing here in the kitchen. So let's bring you back up here so you can see my face. The jambalaya is delicious, and it's a recipe that I've used many, many times, so I don't have to taste it on camera to know that it's good. It's something that is a staple in my house. It's something that I make all the time, because who can't resist shrimp, sausage, and chicken all in one meal with rice and a delicious sauce. So this has been jambalaya, another round 2 recipe for us. I hope you'll come back again soon and see what else we can do with sausage and with shrimp. My name is Tiffany, and this has been The Single Cook. Thanks for watching.